Hi there, Titans, and welcome back to another Titan Academy video. Today we'll be talking about how to run actions on your power table. First, we'll show you the various options for running your actions, such as buttons on your table, icons on your table, or clicking on a specific field on your table. And then we'll show you a couple of examples of using the value of a specific row to first update data in Salesforce, and then to show a modal with more details from the record. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is to take a look at our table and see how we can trigger various actions. So I'm going to head over to my table. I'm going to click on my pink gear icon and I'll edit the mapping. I've already set up a table that's bringing a couple of fields from set of opportunities, and the first place that we can add a non-click action is onto the name. So if we click on the three dots next to any field that we have here, we have the option to include an action. And we can have this action run when we either click on the text itself, or if we add an icon here, we can run an action based on the icon. So for example, just as a small example, let's do a toast message and we'll include the name of our opportunity. So let's just quickly take a look at that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on the icon here, and that will show me the name of the opportunity that I click on. Excellent. Let's get rid of that. Now, another place that we can add, excuse me, that we can add actions are in our column itself. So we can create columns that run actions, such as icons or buttons. And these work the exact same way, but if we have an icon, we obviously need to select an icon. And we'll also be able to give a header title for our icon. So like icon action. And as you can see now, if I click on configure on click action, I can decide what action runs when I click on this icon for this column. And I can also do buttons, and I'll say button action. And just to show you the difference in terms of the UI here, you'll notice that my button does not have a header and my icon does, and instead the header for my button ends up being the text for my button. Now I can also style my button to look a little bit more like a button, so let's just show that very quickly here. We have button. We can, for example, change the border to have a bigger radius around it, and maybe we can add some kind of fill. And we can even do some like padding to make it look even nicer. So we can style our button and make it look like a button, or we can use some kind of icon, and both of these can trigger actions. Okay, those are the various ways to set up the actions. Now let's run a couple of different actions just to give you some examples of what you can do here. So as we saw earlier, we ran an action with a toast message, and it took the specific name from the row that we clicked on, and it showed that name in a toast. And that's because in Titan, we're able to recognize which row we are clicking on and what the values from that row are. So I'm going to set up an action that will update the opportunities here in Salesforce. So let's see how that runs. So I could, of course, allow my end user to change the stage here. In this case, I'm just going to change the stage of this opportunity based on clicking on this button right over here. So let's do edit mapping, and I'm going to run a Salesforce push here. So I'll set up a push from here, and what I'm pushing is an opportunity, and I want to update a specific opportunity. The opportunity that I want to update is the opportunity whose ID is equal to the power table value, and we'll go over this in a moment. I want the power table value of the row that I'm clicking on. So let's over to mapping, and let's go to stage, and let's say I want to set this to closed one, like that. All right, I'll apply, and let's do this opportunity update, and this is updating op to closed one. Excellent. Let's change the name here to update stage. Great. I'm going to go back for a second just to show you that that value that we mapped as our condition is the opportunity ID, and it's taking it right from here. So each row will have a value, which will be its opportunity ID, and that's what we're using to know which opportunity to update here. So I'll even turn on debug mode so we can see it there as well. All right, so I can see that for each row of my power table, I have a value, and based on the ID here, I'm going to be updating the opportunity. So here's an opportunity that's in negotiation review. I'm going to go ahead and click on update stage. I'm going to come back here and I can see that I've run an opportunity update. And if we head to this opportunity in Salesforce, we should see that the stage is updated to closed one, as you can see. And if I refresh here, I'll see it on my power table as well that it is updated to close one. Now, of course, in my action flow here, I could have simply refreshed my table right after here. So for example, I can run my power table get again. I'll do custom order of execution so that first I update and then I refresh my table with my latest update. And now if we do this, we'll also see the update happen on the table immediately. So we have proposal price quote, I'll do update stage, and now you can see that it's been moved to closed one. Okay, great. So we've seen that when you click on a specific row, we know exactly which row we're looking at and we're able to update that row. We're going to show one more example of this. And in this example, we're going to just show more details of the opportunity that we click on in a modal. You might not want to have so many columns in your table. And so you might say that you'll make a modal that will provide more details for your end user if they need to see them. So I've got myself a modal that I already built here, and I'm just bringing in some data from the opportunity. We don't need this. And I'm going to be running a get to populate those details. I've already set up this get. And this get says that if my opportunity equals this variable that's holding an opportunity ID, then bring back the details from that opportunity and map to the fields on my modal. Now, in order to populate that variable, I'm going to need to pass the value from the specific row I select to the variable, and then trigger my get and pop open my modal so I can see more details. So let's do that on our icon this time. I'm going to change the icon name to see more details, and I'm going to click on configure action. And the first thing we need to do is populate our variable. So I'm going to do effect elements. I'm going to find my variable. Here it is, and I'm going to say set value from, and I'm going to set value from my power table value. And so whatever row I click on, it will grab the value, which is the opportunity ID, and it will set it to this variable. After that, I'm going to run my get to populate my modal with more opportunity details. And finally, I'm going to open my modal. Best practice is to give a name to your modal. In my case, I did not, but important to keep that in mind and give a name to the modal. Okay, and that's good enough for now. Do apply and apply. Let's change our icon to something a bit more interesting. Let's say like, let's see if we have like a pen. No. Okay, we have many options here. You could search through and see which one is best for you. In this case, we're just gonna say, I like this one. Okay, cool. I'm gonna refresh. And now when I click on a specific record, I'm getting the details. You can see this is United Oil SLA, same amount as my table, but I also get some extra details such as the account that it's associated with. I could see it's not associated with any contact, but I can of course update that and associate it with the contact. I can, run some kind of update now that I have a modal with more details. So this is just another way that you can use this feature. So you can run actions from your table and make sure that the actions are relevant to the specific row that you're selecting. Enjoy.